you so. We're recording this for Miss Drain or Coach Drain's class and the rest of our seniors here at Velma Jackson, class of 2022, and also recording this for our friends at Madison Central Regional in Germantown. So we are going to record this for Madison County Schools. Thank you so much, our 2021 Velma Jackson Salutatorian, Calditra Anderson, currently a freshman at Southern Miss. And we just got through watching some videos and talking a little bit about the university. So before we get into what it is that how your first year experience has been on campus, why don't, even though most of the people here watching know you, just take us through again your experience at Velma Jackson. You were a cheerleader, salutatorian, involved in TSA, and that's just off the top of my head. So why don't you take us through a little bit more what your high school experience was transitioning into Southern Miss?
Okay, Velma Jackson, it's like a small school. Like everybody know Velma's a small school. So me going from Velma to Southern Miss was something very different for me because you see different people. Every day I see somebody different. I could be walking to my car, I'm going to see somebody I ain't never seen. But at Velma, I see the same people every day. So you have a chance to, get more out there than you was at high school. At Velma, like Coach Pike said, I was a cheerleader for 2 years. I was in TSA for 4 years. I was the president of the Beta Club and vice president, and I was the vice president and president of the TSA at Velma.
Yeah, and you're being humble because you were involved in a lot more than that. And then you became our salutatorian in a great graduating class of 2021. Now, your application process to Southern Miss. And we talked a little bit about this when I saw you back in October, but what all did you apply for and what all were you able to get as far as paying for college? Because we have a lot of our seniors are worried about, I don't know how I can afford it. So what are the ways that you did and what all have you done now to go to college and be able to afford it?
Okay, Southern Miss is very expensive. But luckily for me, I'm not paying for nothing out of pocket. I applied for financial aid, and when you apply for your financial aid, they give you the option to apply for state aid. So I got the state aid and financial aid. I had received a HELP grant, which paid for your tuition and some other things for all 4 years. I received the Academic Excellence Scholarship, which give me, I think, like $1,500 a year. And in December, before we got off of Christmas break, I was nominated for the elementary education scholarship, which was like $4,000. So that money was in my pocket.
Wow. Yeah, and you're right. I as big of a fan as I am of Southern Miss, I'm an alumni, and so is Miss Davis as well. The price has not gone down, but there are ways, like you said, to apply for that, and we keep pushing the FAFSA. The FAFSA deadline is coming up very soon. So if they're going to get on that, people from the same community can qualify for things. We're going to have Jessica Love in a few weeks, and she's going to talk about the program specifically for minorities to get to Southern Miss. Now, one thing you did talk about, and I just talked about this as well, was the diversity of Southern Miss. I know one thing that a lot of young Black students may worry about is they say, I don't want to go somewhere and I'm going to be the only Black person there. Have you ever had that problem at Southern Miss?
I'm having that problem now. I'm in my well, it's not a problem for me because I can get along with people. I can
absolutely
have that communication. But in one of my classes, like it's a class for the girls, but I'm the only Black girl in that class.
But that's not something that's real common at Southern Miss. It is a very, very diverse campus.
Yeah, it's very diverse, but they're just an elementary education class, so. Now, but it's very diverse. Like I'm my tree class, I'm in a class where he's from Saudi Arabia. Like it's people from everywhere up in there.
Yeah, I had a teacher from Thailand when I was there, and it was definitely different. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about also how the classes work. And I just got through talking about it. You may have heard me say this before. I had a class in an auditorium at Southern Miss. It was a nutrition class required for graduation. There were 300 or more people in the class. There was a guy I went to high school with, I'd literally known my entire life. I had no idea he was in the class until the last day. So coming from a small school like Velma Jackson, how much of an adjustment is that being in a class that big?
Every time I walk into a B class, I get nervous because I'm not used to it. Yesterday, I had a class and it's 99 of us in that class. Last semester, I was in a class with 150 kids.
Wow. So when that happens, what is the way that you keep up in a class like that? Because obviously your professor's probably not going to know you. So how do you adjust from having a one-on-one interaction like you have in high school to being a successful college student in just 1 year later?
I go to the office hours. Those are always helpful because you can be one-on-one with your professor.
Yep. And just so they, and they may not be familiar, all professors are going to list the office hours on their syllabus and on their website. They're going to, they make themselves available. So it is initiative. Now, also, when it comes to these, the grades in college, do you have a lot of wiggle room on deadlines?
Somewhat. Most of the professors, they're not going to let you give them anything late. When they say it's time for the due, that's the due date.
Yeah.
And some of them don't give extra credit. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and then you're looking at maybe, in some classes you only have 5 grades for the whole class. So if you get behind,
Right.
You have to catch back up. It is a lot different. Now, I know you have a pretty cool schedule this spring, but talk a little bit about how the scheduling works for people in college from semester to semester.
Okay, based off your major, you have a catalog, and your catalog can tell you what class you need to take each semester. Me, I came in with 18 hours of dual enrollment credit. So I was a semester ahead. So this semester, I really is a sophomore this semester.
That's awesome.
So once your advisor will tell you what class you need to do, and then they will put it in, and you get to choose with how you want your class to be settled.
That's awesome. And even though that sounds like a hard process, it is actually quite easy because those advisors, that is their job. And that's one thing I really push is that you have admissions counselors there, you have academic advisors. It is their job to help you with this stuff. So you have to take the initiative and reach out to make sure you're staying on top of those things. Now, we did also, talk about some of the fun stuff on campus. I did see, we were looking at one of the videos. The food selection there is incredible, and it was way better than it was when me and Miss Davis were going to school there. So talk a little bit about that student union and how awesome that is.
Okay, we have Chick-fil-A, Subway, we have a wing place, a pizza place, and then we have pies. So it's like a little convenience store that have different little stuff that you can use. And you can use it with your gold card. So all you have to do is swipe your card and you can get your food.
Yeah, and it is a smorgasbord of selection. It is, and there's other places, smaller places on campus if you don't want to walk. And also, being in Hattiesburg, being on campus, it is a fun place. So how is it that you have to? And I was just talking before you came on about I enjoyed my Southern Miss experience. It was a great fun time. But how important is learning the time management now in high school in order to become a successful student while still having a good time on campus?
You have to, I don't know how to put it because it's the way I want to say it. Okay, so if you know you got an assignment, don't stress over it. Have your fun, but also get your work done too. Because the professors, they don't care about you having fun, but have your fun because college is fun. Have your fun, but do your work at the same time.
Yeah, and also in Hattiesburg, stuff that's off campus, right there across the street, you got the all that new little shopping area with all those new food places, and none of that was there when I was in school. You got some unbelievable restaurants to choose from there, some great night spots. You got the Brewskis and the La Fiesta Brava, which are great after hours places that are a lot of fun. And then I don't know if you're interested in getting into the Greek life, but the Greek life has some amazing parties. They do a lot in the community. And I was just telling the group here with me, there's literally always something to do on the campus, but you're right. You have to have the time management and you have to have the initiative to stay on top of the academics, because if not, you're wasting time and you're wasting money. Now, before I get to some of these questions, I do want to talk a little bit about you also applied to be an RA. So can you talk a little bit about the resident, what it's like living on campus and the resident program at Southern Miss?
Living on campus, I stay in Sky Hall, which I believe that's the best dorm because it's look way modern than the other ones I've seen. But already they have their own room, and they get paid for it. They to their SOAR account each month.
Wow.
So there's like something easy you can do while building the experience.
Yeah, because it is work experience. And you know, for what I mean, I was never in residence life, but for what I understand, it is a pretty flexible schedule as long as you have, you have your set dates. And you are on top of your scholarship and grants, you're getting paid on top of that to have a job, and you can study while you're at work. It's not something you have to be. And I don't know how it works, but I do know that I have had friends that did it, and they said it was a great gig. You had your own room, and you had time to study while you were working.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You get to use.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just want to say, yeah, you can study while you're working.
Yeah, and it's a great program, and it is a way to get work experience, and it also is great networking. And I know that the Southern Miss network goes very deep all over the South. Now, and I got one more before we get to these questions, is that you majoring in elementary education. What made you to decide to go into that major, and why is Southern Miss so strong in education for anybody watching later or now that might be interested in going to education?
Okay, I chose elementary education because I always had a passion for it, learning and all that. Even though I'm majoring in elementary education, my endorsement, I can teach you to the 12th grade. So, and the class that for elementary education, they teach you so that your student can learn, each student can learn individually, because everybody not going to learn the same. So they teach us to help everybody learn.
Yeah, the word for the teacher crowd is differentiation. I'm sure you've heard that a bunch already. But I do want to get to some of these questions, and these are all seniors, obviously. You'll know most of these, but this is Makayla Garrett, and she asked, "What is it like going from Velma Jackson being a first-year college student?"
It was pretty easy to me because, I mean, once you out there, you really can be yourself. So like, it's like an identity thing. Like if you wanted to change the way you are from high school to college, you can do that, because when you get to college, you don't know nobody. They don't know you. So basically you being your impression to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some Velma Jackson people there. I mean, there are a few people from high school there, but you're right. With 15,000 students, everybody is not going to know you. And also, along the same lines, you can create your own identity, but it doesn't. Nobody gives a crap what your identity was in high school, because nobody knew you, and all the stuff that you may think was cool in high school, nobody cares about that. It literally is a fresh start for everybody that goes, no matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is Shemaya Archie, and this is a question about the grants. And she asked, how long is the approval process for the grants you received?
So once I applied for them, we have to be in school. So like they didn't kick in to about like all October, like the first week in October, because they had to make sure that you actually in school before they just disperse your money.
I did not know that. That's good information. Now this is Jasmine Williamson, your former cheer mate and Miss Velma Jackson 21-22. And she asked, what different pathways did you take to get you to your decision of choosing Southern Miss?
I applied for a lot of colleges, but Southern Miss was always my number one, because every time, like, they was the only ones that really just reached out to me about different things at other colleges. So that's what made me choose Southern Miss.
Yeah, and you're right. It is a very welcoming environment, and I'm sure you know Madison Krim, the admissions counselor. She did a presentation for us last semester, and she really stressed the fact that there really is something for anybody that wants to get involved in something there. Yeah, the sports are cool and fun, and that's what a lot of people see. But there's so many other things on campus that people can get involved in. Maybe if you're not into sports, everybody's not into it, but there are tons of ways to get involved, tons of ways to be. To see something, to do something. There's really always something going on. Now, this is LaTravis Williamson, and he has horrible handwriting. How would you describe your position? How would you describe your position as a whole, as of where you are right now?
I would say I'm doing good right now. I would say I'm doing good.
Now, and I know you are, and we've talked about this, but let's talk a little bit about these scholarships because you do have some, but
Mm,
did they just can you fail and still keep the scholarship?
No. You like financial aid, I think I gotta have 12 hours. Mississippi aid, I think I'd be 15 hours. So if you fail a class and it go below your hours, they will take that money and you have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, and because you hear people talk about paying out of pocket for college. Usually, not all the time, but usually, it's because they messed around academically and were hit with some sanctions, and that financial aid or scholarship is taken away. They do have GPA requirements, and in order to keep going to school with that aid, you must keep certain academic standards. This is Tony Daltrey, and he asked, what is the best way to describe life at Southern Miss?"
I would say it's I would say it's fun because it's like you had said, there's always something to do on campus. There's always something you can do.
Yeah, there was always a concert or a step show or
Yeah.
people on TV. You had the parties, and then it depends. It really depends on what you like. If you're an art person, they got the art gallery. They have speakers from all different walks of life, and the one cool thing is that there's different classes you can try out. Maybe you might change your major over it. So. And I think they have some programs people don't understand, don't realize. I'm sure when you live in the dorm, you've heard about some of them. They have the radio, television, and film major. That's one of the top in the country, right there at Southern Miss, and the polymer science. And then they're moving toward the biological science and the agriculture as well. So there's a lot of different ways for people to get involved. Now we're almost out of time, and I thank you so much for joining us. I know you got a lot going on, but as a recent Velma Jackson graduate, you were sitting in the same school, walking these same halls just last year, and yet you're doing some big things down there in Hattiesburg, along with some other of our Velma Jackson alumni. So what can these kids do, even if they want to go to Holmes or Hines or East Central or something first, they want to transfer to Southern Miss? What can they do to be prepared to be as successful of a Southern Miss student as you've become, or even just a successful college student as you've become?
I would say be on top of your game because it's going to come fast. It's going to come fast.
Yeah, it's going to be here before they know it, and I know y'all told me the same thing. So, and again, thank you so much. I know you're really busy, and we are out of time, but that was some great answers, some great insight to a great university, and as always, to the top.
Okay, to the top.
All right, see you.
Okay.